Welcome to the Greatness Together podcast. Curious minds unite. Mother-daughter conversations that delve into the heart of psychology. Thanks for joining us.
Simonne, I had this really fascinating, absolutely amazingly brilliant adult moment this week. Would you like to hear all about it?
An epiphany?
Is it epiphany?
An aha?
I actually expected it. So it wasn't really an epiphany for me. It was an epiphany for the really cool people that I was doing the retreat for in this barn.
Let's hear it.
So we're doing this exercise called beeping squares. That was the sourpuss face.
Did you have
that
to
you just
swear or something?
Oh, no, beeping. So, okay, fun backstory. So this is an exercise where normally you buy this mat, and if you step on one of the squares that you're not supposed to be standing on, it beeps. That's why it's called beeping squares. But I actually just used, those mats that little children play on in daycares. I use that. So
I was wondering why I had those in the cupboard.
that's why I had this in the cupboard.
Wasn't good.
For a very adult, grown-up, responsible reason, not because I like to play like a toddler.
Little roll time? Belly time?
Oh, I would love to have belly time in the day.
I get it.
I've grown up so responsible.
Boo.
You're distracting me. What do you think this is, Friday night, dark in the middle of a thunderstorm, that when we're recording this
That's
podcast?
exactly what's going on.
Oh, okay. So, for our thoroughly confused listeners, but we're not confused, and that's all that matters. So we're doing this exercise called beeping squares. And I have created this really complicated maze that people have to get through. So basically, you can only step in one direction adjacent to the square that you're on. So if you step on the square and it's the wrong square, so you try again, you step on a square. If it's the right one, then I don't whistle them out, right? Beep. And then they have to try the next one. And so the point is everybody in the group has to go from the starting blocks, the starting squares, and everybody get out through the entire maze. And only I know what the maze is because I've built the path.
Right.
And again, you can only step to an adjacent square. There's a really interesting thing that happens about a third of the way in. And that is, the only way to keep going through the maze is you have to go backwards. Because the maze, you start to go kind of like weave back and forth, and then you get to a point where you have to go like cross backwards, diagonally backwards.
Okay. But people didn't want to do that?
Usually the statement is, but wait a minute, we've tried everything.
Except going backwards.
Except going backwards.
People, it's forbidden.
It's just not usually the way we think about going through a maze. You need to progress. Remember when we would go to corn mazes when we were on family things? We would hit a dead end and like, oh man, like we'd lost this fictitiously, really randomly strange thing of being in the middle of a corn maze.
And then instead of retracing your steps, you go directly in the corn and then it's hitting you in the face.
That's not what you're supposed to do.
Oh.
See, that's the whole point though.
There you go.
You don't want to go back.
You don't want to, no.
So that was an aha moment for these folks. And it is for any time I've done this exercise with folks, there's a moment where people realize that it literally is not considered an option to go backwards. And if you think about that, we see that all the time. Like, you probably have students, you're in second year university, you probably have classmates who don't like their program, and they already know it. They might have known it their second week of first year, but they probably feel like it's going backwards if they start all over again, right? If they leave their program and they start something new, or they don't want to lose the credits. So
it's so much easier to just stay in their little comfort zone that they've made, even though they don't like it. But as long as it's not moving or transferring or moving back, it's easier to just stay where they are.
Yeah. And we don't, we have this loss aversion. And there's been so many behavioral economic studies where people would rather be guaranteed and make $10 than potentially get 100, but not be guaranteed. People would rather have the guaranteed $10. And that is because we don't want to lose. We don't want to risk losing. We'd rather be guaranteed something small. And because we don't anticipate the consequences of not taking the risk. Think about if you're some of your friends who are in second year and they're in a program they don't like. Are they going to stay in a job in that career that they don't like forever? At some point, you either suffer through it, which, let's face it, people don't. They change careers 13 times in their lifetime now. But also, at what point is the cost too much to not switch courses? You know what I mean?
When is the cost too much to not switch chairs?
Yeah.
When is the cost?
Do
I have this written out.
do I have too many negatives?
When is the cost too much to not switch courses? Wait, okay, one more time. When is the cost too much? I still
carry the course, multiply it by 16.
Division first, multiplication, bed mass. Wait, I genuinely don't get it. When is the cost too much?
At some point, the cost of not changing or not switching or not paying attention to the signs, at some point you have to pay attention.
Okay.
It may not be second year. It may not be when you graduate. It may not be when you've been in that job 5 years, although it probably is. Because think about imagine if when you realize that you need to take a step back, maybe school's really stressful and you're really overwhelmed, and it'd be better if you went down to part-time courses, or you've taken a move into a senior leadership position and you think, I am not having fun anymore. I saw this all the time in healthcare. People who loved providing care, the physicians and the nurses and the physiotherapists. I know, it's really interesting.
I yawned.
They got into healthcare because they wanted to provide health care. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people would move into leadership roles because they had lots of potential and maybe they wanted, they thought that they wanted things that a role of a leader would provide for them. And not everybody likes it. But taking a step back, oh my gosh, when I told Nana and Grandpa that I was going to start my own business, I mean, I don't think they wouldn't have categorized it as a step back in the grand scheme of things. It was certainly a security step, taking a step back.
Yeah, it's quite the different route, and especially one that they're not very... Actually, no. Grandpa started his own business, right?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I was going to say not something they're used to, but...
But is that idea about taking a step back? Taking a step back to them was not having a pension or job security. Why would you have less security? Or for somebody else it might be, well, I have taken this promotion. I don't want to take a step back, whether it be in title and status power or your paycheck, your benefits, and it's very understandable, but that's I think taking a step back is harder for people. We don't often it's hard to go for what we want. We talk, I think, more about that. How much should we actually talk about how hard it is to take a step back?
Mm-hmm. It's quite shunned upon.
Yeah, and yet we don't really talk about it. we maybe dissuade people from doing it. Because Dad's doing that right now. Dad's doing 3/4. So working 3 years, taking the 4th year off, and then he goes back for a year and then he retires. That was a really weird decision.
But during these 3 years, he's only being paid 3/4 of
Exactly.
his pay.
So a lot of people are like, why would you not get paid fully what you could get paid? But for Dad, it's how he's going to transition into retirement.
Yeah, it sounds like you're saying that many great opportunities come out of just stepping out of that comfort zone a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's taking a step back, whatever you need. And then the rest is history.
It's not worth your mental, physical health to not. Because sometimes you literally have to take a step back. Or holiday vacations are like that. If I do not take, and you've said this to me before too, if I do not take a break, if I don't leave work at a decent time, if I don't go on a holiday once in a while, if I don't get more sleep, and that's a form of taking a step back. You see the impact on me, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone needs it at some point, and you need to know your own boundaries and know when it should come on. Like, yeah, like, even sometimes when I'm working on something, I'll be like, oh, okay, an hour more. Oh, an hour more. Oh, an hour more. And then the second I give myself like a break, I feel like not like fail-esque, but it's like, oh, there's so much more I could be doing right now. What am I missing out on? Blah, blah, blah. Or just like going back to something after not doing it for a while and thinking that you should be in the same same.
Have you recently had that experience? You were just telling me about that today. Going back to the gym.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was away, I didn't go to the gym for 4 months, and then I went back today, and I used the same weights as I did before when I was going to the gym regularly, and my body hurts so bad right now. I'm like struggling to get off the couch. Which
Good thing the
might be a good
podcast
thing.
is on the couch.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to leave the couch until this episode's over.
Gonna be in pain tomorrow.
And that is another great example. Is when it comes to our workout schedules, we don't want to take a step back. So this is a great example.
Yeah, what was your example of the gym thing? You were saying at a class or something.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to train for this 5K.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So.
But just
you lose your stamina really fast. I do anyway. At 48, yeah. I'm not entirely sure I was a stamina holder on her when I was younger either. But and then I feel really so frustrated because then it takes a few runs to get back. And now I have so little time before the 5K that I'm just like, well, I'm not going to be ready for the 5K, so maybe I'll just walk.
Yeah, so originally you signed up, for context, you signed up for the 5K run. But that's when you were like running like
Every day.
Consistently, and when you didn't have a friggin' rolled ankle.
Yes, rolled my ankle, and then we had a heat wave.
Yeah.
And then I got really sick.
But
other than that,
now Ma's deciding to not just eliminate herself completely. She's going to take a step back from running the super aggravating 5K and walking, which is completely okay. It's not a race. It's not the Olympics. And I'm sure many people will be partaking in walking because due to the lone fact that it's not a race and it's not the Olympics.
Yeah.
So you are allowed to walk your 5K and take this step back because you might come out with another rolled ankle and like chest palmutations if you maybe ran.
What's
a palmutation?
I think it's palpitations.
A chest palpitation?
I think there's permeations.
What's this?
Defibrillation.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully nobody has to defibrillate me. Especially if I'm walking. God, that would be really embarrassing.
But I'm just saying,
yes.
In that case, why push yourself over the edge and possibly disrupt many aspects of your life if you can just take this easy step back and still finish your goal? At least you're still taking part. At least you're still going to cross the finish line. You don't have to be a marathon runner to do it.
And it's for charity.
It's for charity.
And
Shout out Terry Fox.
Shout out Terry Fox. I'm still going to do it because Terry, he ran his race.
Heart Terry.
Heart Terry.
Give me a T. Give me a E.
We're never a cheerleader.
Give me a double R and a Y.
That's not how you cheerlead.
That is Terry Foxy and I. Bye, guys.
That was really good. That was really good. I hope that turns into a meme.
I think that's a good way to end it.
Yeah. But you're right. Thank you, Simonne, for that. That was a great reminder that was a step back, and that was a feeling really good about that decision to take a step back. And it was initially I saw it as a problem, and now I see it as, aha. This is a fantastic opportunity for me to grow as a human.
There you go. Because even on your little stepping blocks that I think you do play with in your private time.
the beeping squares.
like your little beeping squares. It's okay to take a step back. Yes. It's okay to take a behind beep. What a quote. It's okay to take a behind beep.
That's so perfect. Thanks, Simonne, for the endorsement of my behind beeps.
I just made it up now.
I couldn't tell. Love you, babe.
Love you more. Mwah.
Thanks so much for joining us for the Greatness Together podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you catch your podcasts. Yours in greatness, Simonne and Sarah.